Okay, the next one adalah graphing the data for graphing the quantitative data for group data. Okay, so the first one adalah frequency distribution. Okay, frequency distribution untuk group data dia sama je dengan ungroup data. We need to count the value. Cumanya dia punya first column, kalau dekat sini first column dia adalah categorical shoe size macam ni kan. Tapi untuk group data kita akan create the classes. Okay, ni kita akan groupkan dia. Okay, we group the list of data. Okay, we group into classes, several classes. Alright, so sorry, we go to mana tadi? Okay, frequency distribution. Okay, baca sikit. Frequency distribution refers to the groups of values. So we will create the classes. Okay. This becomes necessary in the case of some variable which can take any fractional values and in which case an exact measurement is not possible. So kita akan groupkan dia. Okay, a frequency table also summarizes the data collected by forming interval of values. Okay, kita akan create the class intervals of values. It is simply a table in which the data are grouped into classes and the number of cases which fall in each class are recorded. A frequency distribution is constructed for three main reasons: to facilitate the analysis of data, to estimate the frequency of the unknown population from the distribution of sample data, and to facilitate the computation of various statistical measures. So we can use the frequency table for the group data later when we want to draw the histogram and also the OGIF. Okay, so first of all, I nak tunjuk dulu macam mana nak create the frequency classes. Okay. Okay, so the first one, we need to find the number of classes first. Okay, daripada a set of data, contohnya macam ni, we have a set of data. So now we want to group this data into several interval of classes. And then from there we can calculate ataupun count the value that includes ataupun corresponding to the classes that we created. So first of all, okay, kita macam ni lah, kita nak create the frequency table right here, and then we need to know how many classes that we should put here. Okay, so kena kira dulu number of classes. Okay, the formula is log n divide dengan log 2. N adalah number of distribution ataupun number of sample size. Okay, for example, in this question, okay, we have the set of data here, which is a data of final examination marks for subject QMT 181. Okay, so we have this data, okay, marks of students. So from here, berapa ada semua? 11, 11. 11, 11, 9. So it is 31. Okay, we have 31 observation. We have 31 data. So how many classes that we should create? Classes ni maksudnya dekat row. We will have 2 column and several rows. So how many classes that we need to create? The formula is log n divide dengan log 2. So using your calculator, jumpa tak log? Okay, log n, which is the log 31 for this example, divide dengan log 2. then you will get 4.95. So we approximate kepada 5. Okay, so here it will be 5. Okay, number of class interval that we need to create it is 5. So we need the 5 column here. Alright, the next step adalah we need to find the class size. Okay, the class size. Class size ni maksudnya adalah okay, it is the approximate value of the class interval is obtained. Okay, class interval. Class size ni adalah class interval. Berapa banyak beza di antara berapa banyak interval dia punya range tu. How many apa ni range. Contohnya, okay, let's say this here. Let's say ini dah ada classes yang dibuat. Okay, we have several classes. So the class size tadi adalah ini. Class size sama di antara 21 until 25, berapa dia punya class size? It will be 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it is the 4. Right, so the class size kat sini adalah 4. Okay. So how to find the class size? The formula is range divide dengan number of classes. Number of classes tadi nilai K. Range, how to find range? Largest value minus dengan smallest value divide dengan number of classes. So let's say this example to find C, which is the range. Kena cari dulu nilai range. Range adalah the largest value minus the smallest value. The largest value is 88. Betul tak? 88 minus the smallest value is 19. So 88 minus 19, it will be 69. It will be 69. Okay, 69 divide dengan, should be divide dengan nilai K. Tadi kan the classes. Okay, which is 5. So, berapa dapat? It is 13.8. 13.8. So, we approximate kepada 14. Okay, we approximate kepada 14. Okay, dia kena bundarkan kepada nombor yang lagi besar. Let's say you dapat kat sini 13.1 pun you kena approximate kepada 14. Sebab kalau you buat apa ni, you ambil boundary, apa ni, you bundarkan kepada nombor yang lagi kecil. So maybe nombor apa tu ataupun data yang ada ni tidak akan termasuk dalam mana-mana classes. Okay, so take note that. Okay, so sekarang kita tahu dia punya class interval adalah 14. Okay, and then we need to know the lower limit dan juga upper limit. Lower limit dan upper limit for every classes. Okay, let's say kat sini dia tanya dulu what are the lower limit would you recommend for the first class. Okay, the lower limit. Okay, baca kat sini. Okay, the lower, about the class limit. All the class limit and boundaries must be stated clearly. Okay, class limit dulu Okay, there are two kinds of class limit, which is the lower limit and the upper limit. Lower limit are the smallest value for each class, and upper limit is the biggest value for each class. So if we have 5 classes, we will have lower limit and upper. We will have 5 lower limit and upper limit. So you need to clearly determine what is your lower limit for every classes. Lower limit and upper limit for every classes. Overall, the value on the left of the group of classes, class limit are the lower limit, whereby the values on the right are upper limit. Contohnya yang ni tadi. Okay, ini adalah lower limit for the first class. Ini adalah upper limit for the first class. Ini adalah lower limit for the second class. Ini adalah upper limit for the second class. Okay, that is the upper limit and lower limit. Okay, and then baca juga yang ni. In building the frequency table, the lower limit for the first class must be smaller than or equal to the smallest observation. Sama ada small ataupun equal to the smallest observation. Okay, so that is the thing that you should know. Okay, so let's say here kita punya lowest value adalah 19. So kita punya lower limit for the first class can be sama ada 19 ataupun 18. Okay, let's say kita ambil lower limit ni adalah 19. Alright, so we need to create this frequency distribution. Okay, so we start with the lower limit for the first class, which is 19. Until berapa? Okay, dia punya class interval tadi adalah 14. Okay, the class interval tadi should be 14. So, 19 plus 14. So, 19 plus 14, it will be 33. Okay, it will be 33. The next class, the second class will be, should start with 34. Kita tak nak overlap. Ada juga some of the types of the frequency distribution yang overlap. Nanti later saya akan bagi contoh. So 34 until berapa pula? Tambah lagi 14. 34 plus 14, it will be 48. Will be 48, and then the next class will be start with 49 for the lower limit sehingga 49 plus 14, it will be 63. Okay, and then next class start dengan 64. Okay, until 78, right? And last class, final class, is start with 79 until 93. Okay, and then complete the frequency distribution with the number of unit, which is the number you count the examination mark that lies between the classes that we create. Okay, so just count one by one like before this, and then you will get here the answer is 1, here is 2. You can try count the value. This is 4. Okay, nampak macam 9 kan? It is 4. 18 here and 6. Okay, make sure when you total up this column, you akan dapat a number of sample size here, which is 31. When you add up this, you akan dapat 31. Okay, that is the way how you create the frequency distribution for group data. Bila you ada a set of data, the list of data, then you need to groupkan dia menjadi frequency distribution. Okay. Alright. And then ini adalah another contoh the frequency distribution. Kalau tengok dia punya classes ni lain. Kan boleh juga ditulis dalam bentuk macam ni. Tak ada masalah. Macam ni boleh, macam ni pun boleh. Okay, in the above frequency table, there is no overlapping problem. The classes are equal sizes and the number of data in each class indicated. The boundaries for each class are the same as the class interval. Take note that data, okay. Alright. So, kalau kita punya frequency distribution like this, okay, we can use this frequency like this. Cuma, kalau to obtain the class boundaries, dia berbeza sikit daripada yang ni. Okay, so saya akan ceritakan class boundaries ni after this when we want to create the histogram. Okay, the class boundaries is one of the method that you need to fulfill first before you before you draw the histogram. Okay, so bolehlah kita sambung kepada histogram. Okay, I believe all of you dah pernah experience how to draw the histogram before this. Okay, which is we will use histogram uh, to display the data, and also from that we can observe the shape of the distribution. Daripada histogram juga kita boleh tengok our distribution is normal or skewed. Other than that, from the histogram, we also can find the value of mode. Okay, if you can remember. So it is important for you to know very well how to draw the histogram. Okay. A histogram is a graphical display of tabulated frequencies. It shows what the proportion of the class of the cases fall into each of the several categories, which the classes. The histogram is a summary graph showing account of data points that falling in various ranges. The histogram is constructed by using the class boundaries and the frequency. Okay, we need the two value, class boundaries and frequency, to create the histogram. The area of the bar represented by the frequency. Okay, histogram are useful data summaries that convey the following information, which is the general shape of the frequency and the symmetry of the distribution. Okay, kita boleh tengok dia punya shape and the symmetrical. Kalau normal tu dia symmetric lah. Kalau skewed, not symmetric. Okay, ini contoh kan. Ini contoh histogram. Okay, berbeza dengan bar chart. Okay, kalau bar chart dia ada spaces between the bars, but kalau histogram dia rapat-rapat. Just because of that, we need to find the class boundaries first before we can draw the histogram. Okay, so y-axis nya adalah frequency. Okay, and then your x-axis adalah class boundaries. Class boundaries tu adalah dia punya classes lah. So you need to create the other column which is dinamakan class boundaries. Okay. So macam mana nak kira class boundaries? Okay, class boundaries adalah value that connect one class to the next class. The class boundaries can be obtained by the following. Okay, sini ada salah sikit, dia tukar sikit. Sepatutnya lower limit of the current class minus dengan upper limit of the previous class. Tertukar dia ni. Okay, divide by 2. Contohnya, okay, kita nak cari class boundaries. Contohnya, we need another column. Okay, to create the histogram, we need 2, which is the class boundaries dan juga frequency. Class boundaries dekat x-axis, frequency dekat y-axis. Okay, so we need to create the class boundaries from the class interval that we have. Okay, so it is lower limit of the current class minus dengan upper limit of the previous class. Okay, let's say kita start dengan yang kedua dulu. Okay, lower limit of the current class, ni lower limit kan of the current class. Okay, minus dengan upper limit of the previous class, which is 20. So 21 minus 20 divide dengan 2, you akan dapat 0.5. Betul tak? 21 minus 20 is 1. Divide dengan 2, you akan dapat 0.5. So dia punya class interval adalah 0.5, means that you need to subtract 0.5 for each of the lower class limit, and add another 0.5 to each of the upper limit. So, tolak, okay, subtract 21, tolak 0.5 sebab kita kira tadi dapat 0.5 dia punya class boundary. So, kat sini will be 20.5 Sehingga, okay, dia punya upper limit, we need to add 0.5. So it will be 30.5 untuk second class. For the first class pun sama juga. Tapi di sini because of we start dengan 0, dia punya class interval start dengan 0. So kat sini, kita should put 0. Tak boleh. 0 minus 0.5, you tak boleh letak negative 0.5. Okay. So it will be 0. And here will be the upper limit tambah 0.5. So it will be 20.5. Let's say, kalau dekat sini, kita start tadi, let's say, dengan example tadi, kita start dengan 19 kan. So, dia punya upper limit, lower limit for the first class will be 18.5. Maksudnya 19 tolak 0.5, so you akan dapat 18.5. But, if the first, lower limit for the first class start dengan 0, so di sini should be 0. Tak boleh nak tolak dengan 0.5. So, the next, let's say, the next class will be 30.5 sehingga 40.5, the class boundaries. Okay. Alright. So, and then, boleh buat lagi lah. Okay, so next class 40.5 sehingga 50.5, then 50.5 sehingga 60.5. Next class boundaries is 60.5 until 70.5, 70.5 until 80.5. Next is 80.5 until 90.5, and the last one 90.5 until 100.5. That is the class boundaries. You need this class boundaries. You kena tulis satu-satu before you proceed dengan histogram. Okay, we need these two column untuk create this histogram. Okay, as usual, nak buat graph, kena ada title. Kena ada title. So, you can put the title of histogram of ataupun distribution of apa tadi dia? Exam scores. Okay. Okay. And then, the y-axis and x-axis should be label, okay, exam score dan juga frequency. Okay, and then you need to, yang ni yang penting dekat sini macam mana you nak scale, dia punya scale tu. So dia punya graph paper wajib kena gunakan graph paper. Okay, so dekat sini, di sini should be, okay, kena tandakan di sini adalah 20.5 tadi, betul tak? Dia punya class boundaries. Okay, the first class tadi 0 until 20.5 here. And then 20.5, nampak tak? 0 until 20.5. The next bar should be 20.5 sehingga 30.5. So di sini 30.5. You kena kira betul-betul lah dari dalam you punya graph paper tu. So kat sini will be 30.5. Di sini will be 40.5. Kena kira betul-betul. Sebab apa? Nanti bila you nak kira mode you kena drag ke bawah untuk you kirakan dia punya value kat exam score. Kalau you punya scale ni lari sikit, so the value of mode pun akan salah lah. Okay, so because of that, I cakap bear in mind, take note that you need to put stated the scale untuk x-axis ni properly. Okay, so here will be the class boundaries. Okay, you nak labelkan ni tak ada masalah, you boleh label 0 to 20, 20 to 30, tapi di sini you nak lukis ni, you nak lukis bar ni, dia punya bar ni should be follow the scale ataupun follow the class boundaries, which is the 20.5. Okay, so that is the way how you draw the histogram. Okay, so let's see this example pula. Okay, dia punya scale, dia punya class interval 5 and less than 10. Okay, 5 and less than 10, 10 and less than 15, 15 and less than 20. Okay, kalau scale yang macam ni, dia punya class boundaries will be 5 to 10. 10 to 15. Okay, dia akan jadi macam tu. 15 to 20. Okay, you just ambil macam tu saja. Okay, sama juga dengan yang ni tadi, yang dia cakap tadi yang ni. Okay, dia punya class boundaries will be 30 to 35. 35 to 40 and so on. Okay. Okay, there is the types of the frequency distribution that you should know. Ada beberapa jenis dan how to create the class boundaries. Okay, sama juga dengan yang ni. Okay, so try to draw the histogram of the time taken by a group of marketing students to answer a quiz. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, so kita punya tadi. Alright. So the class boundaries will be 5, 10, 10, 15, 15, 20 sehinggalah 30 to 35. And then dia punya frekuensi yang paling tinggi adalah 6. Okay, so you kena tengok betul-betul before you create the histogram. Okay, so make sure kena ada title. Okay, let's see. Okay, tadi sehingga from 5 until 10. Alright. Okay, you kena buat guna pembaris ya. Okay, let's see kat sini kita start dengan 5. 5 to 10. So, di sini 0. Di sini 0. Okay, di sini 0. So, you kena kira betul-betul dia punya scale. Let's say kat sini kita buat, kalau kat sini boleh tak? 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, cukup. So, kat sini 5. Kita start dengan sini 5. Okay, scale dia betul-betul. So, which mean, I ambil 4 petak ni sebagai 5. Okay, 4 petak ni lagi sebagai 10. And so on. Okay, so kita punya class boundaries tadi 5, 10. Okay, so dia punya frekuensi yang pertama tadi 1. Okay, so kat sini pula, you kena tengok betul-betul. Jadi kita buat 1, 2, tak sama, tak boleh. So, I ambil 2 petak ni sebagai 1, 2, 3. Scale kena buat betul-betul, okay. Supaya nanti bila you nak calculate the mean and the median, dia tak lari. You akan dapat the exact value. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the first one. Okay. This is the first bar. Right, 0 to 5. Next one, 10 to 15. Here. Okay, the value is 4. So, here. Okay, the next one is 15 to 20. Which is 6. Here. You are guna pembaris tau. So, saya just illustration saja. Okay, di sini tadi ini 20. So 20 to 25. It is 4. Okay, 25. Sorry. Total sobat ni. 4 sehingga 35. 25 to 30. It is 2. Here. And 30 to 35 is 3. Okay, so make sure labelkan you punya ni x-axis dan y-axis. X-axis adalah time. So, I think ini kita boleh type. Okay, time. And y-axis adalah frequency. Okay, so this is the histogram. Make sure bar kena rapat-rapat, and then you punya x-axis adalah class boundaries, dan di sini dia punya scale kena kira betul. Jangan start dengan kosong. If your first class of the class boundaries tak start dengan kosong. Macam tadi ini sebab kita start dengan 0 dekat sini dia punya class boundaries. Because of that kita rapatkan ke tepi. Okay, in this example dia punya lower class boundaries start dengan 5. So because of that you kena ada jarak di antara ni. Kena betul-betul lah kira ada punya scale. Sebab nanti untuk kira mode nanti di sini nanti kena turun ke bawah, so kena kira value tu. Kalau dia punya scale tu salah, so the value of mode also will be wrong. Okay. The next one adalah frequency polygon. Frequency polygon dia sama macam histogram. First of all, you kena create dulu histogram, and then from that we can create the frequency polygon. Okay, which is you need to calculate the midpoint. The midpoint, kena cari midpoint. Di sini midpoint, di sini midpoint, di sini midpoint for every class boundaries ataupun class interval. Kena cari midpoint setiap ni, and then you just sambungkan all the points. So macam mana nak cari midpoint? Okay, it is midpoint adalah value that lies in the middle of the two boundaries, which is we can calculate using the upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2, ataupun upper boundary plus lower boundary divided by 2, which means kalau we have this two value tadi kan class boundaries, so 5 plus 10 divided by 2. So macam ni tadi 0 plus 20.5 divide dengan 2. Okay, divide dengan 2 you akan dapat midpoint. So bila dapat midpoint tu you akan letaklah dia punya point kat sini kan, titik dekat sini, the point here, and then just buat line. Okay, just sambungkan the 2 points that will create the frequency polygon. Okay, let's see tadi kan dia punya histogram tadi. Daripada histogram tadi, like I said, kita boleh tengok dia punya shape. So this shape, it looks like it's quite normal kan. No skip happen in this histogram. Okay, that's all for today's session.